Okay, how you doing? I'm Carl Giammarese, lead singer now with the Buckinghams, original lead guitar player. We started, of course, the Buckinghams are a Chicago fixture here. We started in 1965, I guess it was, and started playing around Chicago area. Played all the dances. Got our start playing the Holiday Ballroom, the Embassy Ballroom. Those were the days when that's what you did, and all the Chicago bands got our start playing the dance scene, dances, teen clubs too. So, of course, for the Buckinghams, our first break came with, we auditioned for a TV show called All Time Hits. And Carl Bonafede, who was our manager at the time, he got us the audition for that, and we won the audition, and it was a 13-week contract to be on TV on WGN for 13 weeks. So that probably was one of the most instrumental things in launching our career at that time, because it gave us 13 weeks of exposure on really national TV, because WGN was Superstation, syndicated. So and with that,
and he would do the hits of the day. You would cover the hits of the day.
You got to understand, we were a cover band then. I mean, that's what we did. When we played the dances at the Holiday Ballroom, we were playing whatever was on the charts. We would do everything from R&B to the Beatles. Depending on.
Your first release was a Beatles song.
I Call Your Name. Yeah, that was. I believe that was our first recording. And then we did a James Brown song, I'll Go Crazy. We did a Hollies song, I've Been Wrong. And so we were just covering whatever material the band, our first album was kind of a drag album, was made up mostly of cover songs, with a few originals. But of course, we knew, and Carl Bonafede knew, that we needed an original song. We needed a hit. We needed something, because we were getting airplay. Back in those days, we were very fortunate that radio stations like WLS and WCFL would support local bands, and they would put your records in rotation. And a station like WLS, you could hear it around the country at night, a 50,000-watt station.
And what were the labels?
USA Records was a Chicago-based label. Carl got us that record deal with them after we did All Time Hits. And so, we were looking for an original song, and that's when I'm speaking of Carl Bonafede here, who approached Jim Holvey, a songwriter, and Jim played with a group called The Mob, and who was he with before that, Carl? He played with
Jimmy Ford and
the Executives, but Jimmy Holvey was a guitar player, and he was writing songs that weren't right for his band, and we were very fortunate they were right for us. But anyway, so Carl finally nailed down Holvey for an original song, and he gave him Kind of a Drag.
And Kind of a Drag was, it was so many different musical genres. I mean, he had the brass in there. He had a little.
How you doing?
Good to see you. How are you? We didn't realize at the time that we were starting something new, which was the pop rock horn sound.
Yeah.
And that entry, I've had many radio people through the years tell me, they used to get hundreds of records every week, and they'd put them on, and you'd get 10 seconds, and then you'd flip it to the next one. But the minute that intro started, dun 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 dun,
yes,
made them, pulled them right in. They had to listen to the whole thing.
Look at that, man. That's a couple of
So
that sure, man. Because the light was bad.
Some of it was luck. Some of it was, we happened to record the song in the right way. And I don't know if it was Carl Bonafede or Dan Belloc. I got a feeling Belloc had a big influence on the horns.
Yeah.
Because, his background came from the big band era. And so he had the idea to bring horns into the studio, his horn players, and our horn sound is pretty much dictated by the trombone.
I got that down.
And of course the arranger, kind of a drag, was a trombone player, Frank Tazinski. So he arranged it to have that sound, and so that sound continued with us even after Kind of a Drag.
And that became the Chicago pop sound,
Yeah.
with the brass in the background and R&B set up singers.
You know I will.
Well, that would turned out to be our sound. We sort of backed into it. We weren't really, we weren't like the group Chicago that intentionally formed a horn band. A great band. We were just really a five-piece band who was using horns on sessions. And even when we finally moved away from USA Records and went to Columbia, and Jim Guercio produced us, and we continued on with Don't You Care, and Hey Baby, and Mercy Mercy, Susan. That sound continued as part of, you know.
Used to be a writer. Yeah, of course.
I always think of our sound as was the beginning of Chicago. It was like, if you listen to the last album we did, Portraits, there's something about the horns that reminds you of the first Chicago CTA. So there was that connection there, and of course Guercio went on to produce those guys. So.
And Mercy Mercy was originally with Cannonball Adderley, was it?
Yeah, it was an instrumental, a jazz instrumental, you know, and when we were doing our first album on Columbia, Guercio brought us this version that was recorded by Johnny Guitar Watson. He was a bluesy R&B player, and if you ever listen to the recording he did, I mean, it made it. Their recording moved up the R&B charts a little bit, but they never had the big success with it. But we pretty much copied that arrangement. If you listen to their recording and ours, but you know, we were the hit pop band at the time. We had just come off of a couple big hits, a #1 record, so it was easy. The transition was easier, and it was a great opportunity. So,
And Susan was so melodical. And it was such a wonderful ballad.
yeah, well, it had that melodic sound. Once again, it was a melodic song. So, but you know, and it just, it was a great run that we had in the late 60s. 67 especially was a great year for us, and we were the most listened to band in the country, proclaimed by Billboard magazine.
And what was it about the youth culture of the time that just exploded?
Well, I mean, everything just came together. It's all the stars were aligned, and you know, we were in the right place at the right time. We had the right look, we had the right music for the time, and it just very fortunate the way things worked out. You know?
What were your early influences that brought you to pop instead of going?
Beatles, of course, were the biggest influence that we had. I mean, I don't know if I would have stayed with music if it wasn't for the Beatles. You know, their sound and their music.
Did you meet them in the VJ days before they went over?
I met Lennon and McCartney once in New York. And met John Lennon in L.A. years later, you know, in the early 70s when I was part of a duo with Dennis Tufano. We had Tufano and Giammarese. We did our first album, we did a Beatles song, I'm a Loser. And Lennon commented once that he liked that arrangement of the song, so that was kind of special. But anyway, you know, we, you want to say hi to Nick? Say hi.
Well, thank you.
How are you?
Hi, Nick.
This
We're
is the
doing this
second
for.
part of the duo of the
Yes.
best.
I'm John Sheen. I have a YouTube channel, and
Oh,
we're just
excellent.
putting this stuff out. I have a great following.
Oh, good.
So could you introduce yourself very
Yeah,
quickly?
hi, I'm Nick Fortuna of the Buckinghams. I'm his partner.
Tell me about the early days you getting involved.
Here, I'm going to let him talk for a
Get
second.
involved in the band?
Yeah.
Well,
and
it's-
what were your early influences and
Well, I love
creating
James,
the
I
sound?
love the Beatles, James Brown, you know, the usual, and nothing out of the ordinary. I was one of the centuries with Carl. before the Buckinghams, and of course that band spun off into the Buckinghams, and here we are. I mean, you probably heard the same. I don't want to repeat what Carl said.
Well, that's great. During the in the interim days, you know, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s.
I was playing in R&B groups then. I had a few bands that I was playing with from 1971, 71 until 1981. I was playing a lot of R&B groups, you know.
But your fan base stayed with you from the 60s, from the Buckingham days. What can you tell us about the band?
Well, I mean, there's really nothing that I can say that probably Carl hasn't repeated about. The fans have been there for us since our reunion in 1980, so appreciate that. Thank you so much, and keep coming to the shows. You know, and we just keep trying to make the shows bigger and better. That's about it.
I know I told him I want.
So.
And some of the great artists that you've been able to play with, and the people that you've come to know during the years.
Yeah, we've probably played with almost everybody that there is to play with. We unfortunately we never played with the Beatles. They toured too short of a period of time for us to do anything with them. But we've played with almost everybody. You know. I mean, I could go on, and the list keep going on and on and on and on. So it's.
And what is it about the youth culture of the '60s that stays alive today?
Well, it's just great music. You know, it's great music. It has great foundation to it, and you know, it's one of the kind of things that I don't think '60s music will probably never ever die, because it has such a great foundation, great substance to it. You know, it has great music, good musical tracks, and good lyrics, and. You know, that's why the youth today is even trying, you know, getting into the '60s stuff, because there's a lot of substance there, you know.
Mm-hmm. And when we see the singing programs on today, they're all doing the '60s hits.
Well, yeah,
and
because
the 70s
those songs are they're timeless, you know. Those songs will be around forever and ever. So we're lucky, you know. We're lucky people that we were born in the time that when we got into in the music business. It was, you know, we were there when it was happening, you know, and we helped create it. So we're really fortunate. We're getting ready to do a show.
Thank you so very much.
I gotta let you go. Take care.
With all the other guys in town, can't you see? Y'all hate me, don't you